Lighthouse Keeper's Last Song. The Lighthouse Keeper's Last Song. Far out on the edge of the world, where the sea meets the sky in a soft blur of silver and grey, there stands a lighthouse. It has stood there for a very long time, longer than the village that grew up along the shore, longer than the old stone wall that runs down to the water's edge. The light turns slowly, patiently, sending its gentle beam out across the dark water like a lantern held up by a careful hand. No one in the village remembers the keeper's name anymore. They only remember the song. Each evening, just as the last colour faded from the horizon, a melody would drift down from the tower, soft as a sigh, gentle as the tide coming in over smooth stones. The fishermen would hear it on the water and feel something settle in their chests, a quiet, wordless reassurance that all was well. All was well. The light was turning. The keeper was singing. The current keeper, a woman with silver-streaked hair and hands roughened by salt wind, inherited the post from her grandmother and her grandmother from hers. On her first night alone in the tower, she climbed the long spiral staircase slowly, trailing her fingers along the cool stone wall. The lantern room smelled of old brass and beeswax, and the great lens turned with a low, contented hum, catching the light and throwing it far out to sea. She stood at the window and watched the beam sweep across the water. Below, the village was quiet, just a few warm lights in the darkness. She thought of all the ships that had found their way by this light, all the sailors who had looked up from the waves and seen it, and breathed out, and known where they were. She thought of her grandmother and her grandmother's grandmother, standing in the same spot, watching the same water. Then, without quite meaning to, she began to sing. The song came up from somewhere deep, a melody she had heard in half-sleep all her childhood, drifting up from the tower on still summer evenings. She had never been taught the words. She was not sure there were words. It was more like the sound the sea makes when it is calm, a long, slow breath in and out, a sound that knows how to wait. Her voice was low and unhurried, and the sound moved out through the glass and into the night. Down in the village, an old man sitting by his window paused in his reading. A mother rocking her child felt the baby go still and heavy in her arms. A fisherman mending his nets on the dock looked up at the tower and smiled without quite knowing why. The song settled over everything like fog, soft, encompassing, neither warm nor cold, but deeply, undeniably present. Something ancient was continuing, something that had never really stopped. There is a drawer in the lighthouse keeper's room, small and tucked beneath the writing desk. Inside it are papers, dozens of them, written in many different hands, covering many different decades, songs, fragments of melody, written out in rough notation, with small notes in the margins. Use this on stormy nights. Sing slowly when the fog is heavy, for a ship that has been long at sea. Each keeper had added something, had passed something forward, like a letter addressed to no one in particular and everyone at once. The current keeper reads them sometimes, on quiet afternoons when the sea is calm and the light needs no tending. She traces the old handwriting with one finger, imagining the women who sat at the same desk, looking at the same water. She has added her own pages now, melodies she found in dreams, small variations on the old themes, things she heard the wind do on clear someday someone else will sit here and read her handwriting and feel the same thread running through them, connecting them backward and forward through time. The light turns, the song continues, the sea breathes in and out. If you ever find yourself on the water at dusk, somewhere between where you started and where you are going, and you hear something, not quite music, not quite wind, something in between, look toward the shore. There will be a light there, patient and steady, turning its slow circle. And if you listen, really listen, you might catch it, the keeper's song, the old reassurance, the sound that has been saying, you are here, you are safe, the light is on, for longer than anyone can remember. Let it settle over you like a warm fog. Let it carry you the rest of the way home. Thank you for listening. If this story brought you peace, please leave a like and subscribe for more whispered tales every week. Sweet dreams, wherever you are drifting tonight.